My name is Stefana Johnson and I'm the creator of Yogilachi. So Yogilachi is a practice of moving your body in an optimal way, of eating nutritionally and taking care of your body and nourishing your body optimally, as well as addressing the mindset components and having an optimal mindset. So the outcome for that would be that you are achieving your goals and you're thriving and living your best life. This specific training that I've created is a 5-part training to address chronic pain and to give you some tips and tools and tutorials that you can use today and ideally for the rest of your life to improve your health and well-being, as well as not only get out of chronic pain, but ideally eliminate it and keep it from happening in the future. So some of the basics that we're going to go over in this first video are going to be around the movement components. And that's something that we can do with very little major work. So it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum. If you're an athlete, whether you're an Olympian, it doesn't matter if you've never even exercised. These fundamentals will apply. One of the #1 reasons folks get injured or have chronic pain is because of imbalance. And that may sound very simple, of course, but if you really think this through and understand that the body was and is developed and will continue to work towards that balance. If that balance looks like compromising where one leg might be, you maybe have had an ankle injury, and so the knee and the foot and the hip and the rest of the body will have to compensate for that. It's still trying to come back into balance, even though it's coming into balance with an injury. So what happens with an acute injury, you sprain your ankle or you hurt your knee, the body will try to come back to balance so that it can survive and function. And that balance is still, it is not an optimal balance, but it's coming back into some kind of balance. And then scar tissue develops, and then that acute injury, if not addressed properly, where it heals properly and we come back to our original whole self, we then perpetuate a chronic injury or chronic pain. And the chronic pain becomes worse. It continues because of that original injury. Now, with that kind of small picture of it, let's expand out and look at this a little bit as a wider picture here. Because I want you to know this. I've been doing this for 30 years. Not only have I been doing it physically, professionally for 30 years, but prior to that, I lived with my mother who had chronic back pain, chronic health issues, and then have gone through and experienced this. So I've got this view that's very different than having one view of this, looking at this way. I've been looking at this whole concept of chronic pain and pain as a situation that we tend to take pills for or go to surgery for the solution. And I've looked at how, in so many different angles, how does that pain actually, what's the root cause of it? What's the source of that pain? And it's not always what we think it is. So why I developed Yogilachi is so that we can take this more integrated approach, this more holistic approach to pain, and be able to live optimally without that pain, okay? So not putting a pill on it, not taking and doing something that's gonna mask it or make it, suppress it. We wanna get to the root cause of it so that we can then ultimately live our best selves. And that is the whole picture. So I'm still talking about the fitness, the physical component of that, because that's a big part of what Yogilachi is. Yogilachi, the word came from yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi. I coined that in 1990 something and created that and started really focusing on helping people through that system of movement and really focus on those 3 modalities, the yoga, the Pilates, the Tai Chi, which is a Qigong component as well. And that's the movement that we do here. Now we add the strength and the flexibility and all of that, but it underlies the really fundamental movements of yoga, where yoga, having been around for thousands and thousands of years and having originated in movements of animals, of flora and fauna, of flowers and trees and plants and animals. And so the body can move in that way. And so we utilize that, but that's one piece of that. And if someone is coming to me in pain, I'm certainly not going to put them into some yoga pose and say, well, this is going to fix it, because we don't yet know what the root cause is. And that's why I created this training, because I really want you to understand the whole picture. This broad understanding is going to help you so much more than just say, well, I heard yoga would help my back. I heard yoga is going to help my shoulders. Yes, and we have to look at the whole picture, because we could do a yoga pose that will that is meant to help that back, but if we have some chronic injury that came from an acute injury that was never healed properly, we could have scar tissues, and where that posture would normally help a back, if we don't have the foundation of the structural body in place and working properly with awareness from your viewpoint, you must be aware of how your body moves, or you're going to do a cobra and do what you see someone else doing, and it's going to hurt, and that's not going to help you. So that's what I really want you to understand in this first video, and understand that when I work with clients and how I teach clients is that, for one, it's not coming into a studio or coming into my home studio and learning to do this exercise, and then you come to your appointment and you do the movements, and then you leave and walk out the door and you say, bye, I'll see you next Wednesday. No, it's a 365-day conscious awareness of how you're moving your body. And that's what I'm teaching you here. That's what Yogilachi is. It's a practice. It's not a gym or some membership that you come and do it and check it off your checklist. It's a practice, and it's something to integrate into your whole life and optimal well-being. And the movement piece is one piece of it, and we have to look at all of those components. So I'm really interested in how the body moves and how your body moves specifically. And we can't say, well, you're 47 years old and you're this amount of weight and you're this, and then everybody who's 47, this, and this should move this way and should feel this way. We can never say that. And we have to take away this idea that, well, where's the next book? Oh, good, this book is the next solution, and ketogenic diet, that's the next solution, and oh, I need to do paleo, and I need to do raw vegan, and I need to do... You don't know that yet, because you have to be aware of your whole ground zero, like where you are. And in order to find that, we have to take in the bigger picture and assess from the beginning and look at the whole component. So what I want you to look at right now, and this to be your takeaway today, is that the physical body, the physical structure of the body, there is the bone structure, and the bone structure is set up joint by joint. So we've got a cervical spine, and there's, if you have any kind of neck or shoulder injuries, somewhere along those lines, you probably have heard of C-spine, the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You probably have heard of any of those vertebrae. And maybe you have gotten massages and you've tried to do some yoga poses, and nothing's really helped. Nothing's really gotten to the base of it. Nothing's really permanently handled it for you. And that, I feel, is because if we don't have this one piece, then it's really difficult. We're kind of just putting Band-Aids on things. And that piece is alignment. So alignment of the joints. I want you to get this idea. The body is like scaffolding. And if you build a building and you put up scaffolding because you need to reach the top floor of the building to do the windows or whatever is going to be done, you put the scaffolding up, and the scaffolding is built by one piece going onto the next piece and fitting in snugly and perfectly so it stabilizes before the next piece can be put on. So if you put on one component and you put that in the earth and it's grounded and strong, and then you put on another piece that should be a little bit mobile so that if we need to move things up, there's mobility in there and that joint is working properly, we've got something good. But then if you put the next one on and that should be stable, but it's not quite fitting in there, then we're going to have a situation, because every part of the body either is meant to be a stable joint, which means it's strong and stable, or it's mobile, which means it can move. Doesn't mean it's not strong. It can be strong and move. So you've got range of motion. You probably have heard that if you've ever done movements or exercising or gone to PT or physical therapy or any of the other modalities in a fitness world. Range of motion is very important in the correct, if that joint is supposed to be mobile. But if you are having this, like your head's going back and forth, and it's really mobile all over the place. We call that whiplash, by the way, and that's terrible. We don't want that. We have to find and know what joint is supposed to be stable and what is supposed to be mobile. And then we have to work to get what's stable and what's mobile to be stable and mobile and correct and get stronger if there are discrepancies in that. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on in this next 4 videos. I'll break the next piece down of how to actually do that and what are supposed to be mobile and what are supposed to be stable. And I'll show you some basic things you can do. Then we're going to talk about nutrition in the 3rd one, and we're going to put that together with how you can create your own nutrition and why nutrition is crucial for chronic pain. It is amazing how much nutrition can contribute to chronic pain if you are malnourished or if you have issues with basic fundamental building blocks of the body that can cause and perpetuate chronic pain. We know this. Inflammation is very, very big in topics now, and so we're going to address that, but I'm going to give you some really key components that will help you decipher all of that noise. And then we're going to go into the mindset piece, and we're going to look at how much our mindset has to do with the overall picture. Then we're going to put it all together in something that will work for you as a guide to get you not only pain-free, but maintain a healthy, strong, fit body and be confident that you can move forward in the future in that way. I'm Stefana Johnson. I'm really excited that you have decided to take this training with me, and I will see you in the next video.